All right, welcome back to the channel. So Errol Spence Jr. sides with Gervonta Tank Davis, while other professional fighters have issues with how Gervonta treated Ivan Redkash in their sparring and by releasing their sparring tapes. Let's talk about what Errol Spence Jr. had to say, Gervonta Davis, and we'll even throw in a little Ishai Smith into this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Hey, if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, make sure you check that you have the bell icon selected and that once you select the bell icon that you select to get all notifications. Thank you to everybody that supports on the Patreon as a channel member and everybody that supports in the live streams. Errol Spence Jr., this weekend, there was some hellacious tape that came out from Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is the 135-pound WBA regular champion. 135 pounds is the lightweight. Now, he's not truly a lightweight champion because the WBA, the real champion or the true champion for the WBA is the WBA super champion, and that at 135 pounds is Vasily Lomachenko. However, Gervonta Davis was the 130-pound super champion at 130. He was also the IBF champion at 130. And he's a guy that I think rightfully belongs in the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. But, you know, there's a lot of politics with that over there at ESPN or Ring Magazine. And, you know, I've talked about that ad nauseum, but that's what I think about Gervonta Tank Davis. So it was not much of a surprise to me when I saw the videotape where he pummeled Ivan Redkash. Now, just so you know who Ivan Redkash is, Ivan Redkash was I do believe, the last opponent that Danny Garcia faced and who Danny Garcia beat in his last fight. Can't recall if that was a knockout or it was a decision, but quite sure it was a shellacking. Danny Garcia won the fight. Ivan Redkash is a serviceable welterweight. Serviceable welterweight. Not a top-tier welterweight, but a serviceable welterweight that you can call in to give you a good, entertaining fight for a top-level fighter if and when needed, or if and when they ducking somebody else they don't want to fight. So that's who Ivan Redkash is. Now, Gervonta Davis was on Instagram. I think this was on Friday or something, or Saturday, and he did an Instagram live where he said, "Hey, I'm going to the gym. We amped up about going to the gym. We got sparring going today. I might miss some workouts or something like that, but I'm not missing sparring." Like, he just was amped about it. And he said, "Man, we're going to take the sparring today and we're going to show you the sparring." So he did exactly what he said he was going to do before he went there. He went to spar Ivan Redkash, even though he didn't originally mention Ivan Redkash by name. He just said that he was going to be sparring a welterweight. So he was geeked up to beat up on a welterweight, a guy that's supposed to be bigger and stronger than him. So anyway, he releases the tape. The tape is a shellacking of Ivan Redkash. Ivan Redkash doesn't look like he throws a punch, but he's catching plenty of them. Towards the end of the exchange, he winds up looking like he got wobbled. Somebody in the crowd yells, "Woo, he's drunk, he's drunk." So after Gervonta Davis hurts him, Gervonta Davis goes and runs and spins out of the ring. It was like, yeah, just amped up, beat the dude up, ran out the ring, ha, fun and laughs, all that. Now here's the problem. That is, technically speaking, that is bad form. At least that's my understanding of the way that sparring is supposed to take place. That when you sparring somebody, it's a sparring partner, right? It's your partner. Like, you're sparring, but you're supposed to be that's supposed to be your sparring partner, okay? So you work on something, I'm working on something. You want me, if I'm your sparring partner and you want me to fight in a certain style because you're getting ready for a fight, I'm going to fight in that style. I'm going to do what I need to do to help you prepare for your fight, right? So if if Ivan Redkash is Gervonta Davis's sparring partner, then he should be behaving like a partner, right? You know what I mean? At least, Gervonta Davis should understand that this guy's in here to be my sparring partner. Gervonta Davis wasn't preparing for a fight, right? Gervonta Davis was just itching to beat somebody up. So he goes in there with Ivan Redkash and he decides just to beat him up, right? This is like, hey man, I'm not feeling like doing push-ups or running today, but I do feel like beating somebody up and you're the guy. So that was Ivan Redkash's unlucky day that Gervonta Davis was just coming in there to beat somebody up. But Gervonta Davis records it. And that I think is bad form because you might be showing weaknesses of Ivan Redkash's future opponent. Like, oh man, he can't take that shot. Oh, now I know exactly what to do with Ivan Redkash, right? All of that stuff, right? Also, the guy is trying to become, he's trying to get championship shots. He's trying to progress and earn a living. And when you humiliate him on tape, right? Then you diminish his market value, right? Because now Ivan Redkash isn't known as a former title contender. He's known as the guy that got beat up by a lightweight in sparring. So they're like, man, Ivan Redkash is trash, right? So say Terrence Crawford wants to fight Ivan Redkash, which I would not be surprised if Top Rank tried to make that happen. People say, no, not Ivan Redkash. Ivan Redkash knocked out by Gervonta Davis in sparring and all of that stuff, right? So I would say bad form. Errol Spence Jr., though, has a bit of a different opinion, and I can actually relate to this because I've been near this situation with Errol Spence Jr. himself. He says, hey, man, if you don't feel like the guy taping you, hey, stop the sparring match. Go walk up to the guy, go say, hey, man, you're not supposed to be taping this, and go take his phone and delete whatever it was that he taped, right? And don't allow him to do it. And if that's the case, then and you do that, then he's not recording you, right? Now, I know that to be the case, that Errol Spence Jr. doesn't have sparring recorded. I think that there might be one out there with Jamal Charlo, a short bit of him sparring Jamal Charlo. But when I went into his gym and watched him spar, there wasn't no questions about it. When nobody's filming nothing, you weren't coming in there with no camera, not gonna happen. And they were very, very concerned about that. Now, I don't know whether or not Ivan Redkash really had the ability to do that, because more than likely he went into a gym where it was Gervonta Davis is the star there, right? It is Gervonta Davis has his team there. He might have come in there Ivan Redkash might have come in there with one guy, right? He, his trainer, and then Gervonta Davis is coming in with a crew of people. And Gervonta Davis himself ain't never been shy slapping somebody, in real life. I don't know how Ivan Redkash how that would have came across with Ivan Redkash trying to snatch people's phones. Snatch some phones out from Gervonta Davis's his team. I'm not quite sure how that would have went, man. But I understand what Errol Spence Jr. is saying. If that could have possibly happened, then Ivan Redkash should have done that. If that's not realistic, or if it was something that they would have resisted doing, then it falls more on like what Ishe Smith was saying. I still do look at Ishe Smith's tweets because it's not all ridiculousness. But in this particular incident, he says, hey, man, that's not how I was raised. That's not the etiquette that I was raised with in boxing, or still used to this day. But hey, young people don't care. So they're going to do what they're going to do. Right now. And I guess that at the end of the day, man, dude is about right with it. Like, as you get older, man, the way that you were taught to go about doing things, you can be very regimented about. And, the next generation of fighters or the next generation of people aren't as regimented about it, right? It's not like now it's social media. Everybody's taping everything, right? We're back, in the 90s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't, the recording devices weren't so ubiquitous, right? You couldn't use sparring as easily as a marketing platform for yourself, right? For example, Errol Spence Jr., there's no tape out there, at least that I know of, or I've seen, where Errol Spence Jr. sparred Floyd Mayweather Jr., but the rumors around what happened in that sparring were so significant that it really served as a catapult for Errol Spence Jr.'s career moving forward. So, so now the temptation to record and spread that so everybody can see it, it's even greater than it was. It was even greater than it was before. And the temptation is greater than it was before, because with the social media platform that these fighters have, that stuff is going to immediately get out to a lot of different people, and it's going to really serve, to spread your name and keep you popular, to keep you relevant. And that's going to be important for a guy like Gervonta Davis and other fighters during this time where there's no actual fights that would necessitate or that would result in your name being in the headlines and in the media for that fight, during this period of time. So, you see guys like Ryan Garcia doing things like posting him throwing, hitting the heavy bag, Gervonta Davis showing pictures of him hitting the heavy bag just to get some type of action around the fight to connect your name to continue, to keep yourself relevant. So it's, it's a tough situation. And I just think that, hey, man, you're probably heading towards the days where unless you are the power player in the room during the sparring, like when you're the guy that's hiring the sparring partner, unless you're that guy, the sparring partners are going to have a lot of trouble, dude, because they're going to be the ones. Gervonta Davis' team's going to be the one recording you, and you not going to be recording Gervonta Davis, because they're his boys, and that in that gym are going to take that camera up out of your hand because they're the ones in control. But it's all funny to me. I don't think it's going to necessarily affect Ivan Redkash too badly. Ivan Redkash had just gotten beat up by Danny Garcia, and he'll get another fight, man. He'll get another fight. So I hope that it doesn't affect him, too severely. As far as Gervonta Davis beating him up, hey, man, Gervonta Davis looked like he was, one guy was a welterweight, the other guy was a lightweight, but you might not have been able to tell in that picture who was the lightweight and who was the welterweight. Gervonta Davis is a big, he's short, but that is a big, strong dude, man, because he didn't necessarily look fat, even though he covered up his shirt, so clearly he wasn't ripped. He didn't look like he was as big as he had been in the past, but, anyway, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to seeing Gervonta Davis's next fight. Sorry about that, Ivan Redkash. Hey, man, next time, dude, hey, man, you get it written down in an agreement that he can't do it, man. And that way, if he lets it go, then you got some legal recourse. But if you don't do that, dog, they're going to spread that on you. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are, make sure that the bell icon is selected and you get all notifications. Thank you to everybody that supports on the Patreon as channel members, and in the live streams that we do. And with that, I'm out. Peace.